He asked me to share my story. Okay? And that's what exactly I'm going to do. I can see everyone is alert. You're pushing me to a corner of tension. But I'll share exactly what happened. It was in the year 2019. About 5 years ago. The Lord allows me to share my story about the accusations of my husband after 5 years or even more. In 2019, 2018, and I think then 2017, 2016, we are very busy going out there in the nations. We had big programs. Some of these programs we are given appointments, invitations, I should say, 2 years before, and we had to meet them. Okay? And we are not home most times. The ministry had given it to the pastors who had left home. There was Pastor Farida. There was a pastor who had lost his ministry. His ministry had closed down in Nairobi. And because we are kind people, he had come back to Uganda. We just all told him, come here while you sort yourself out. He came with his wife. Then there was another pastor, some other lady who had been ordained pastor. So we have 4 pastors on ground. The other pastor, this one with his wife, our resident pastor now. 4 pastors on ground. But the resident pastor was very new that time. So, we were moving up and down. 2019. I remember 2019. It was in the month of February. And a personal friend, an intercessor as well, looked for me and told me that, Juliet, the devil is planning to disgrace and shame your marriage. I said, okay, I'll pray about it. And I prayed. But because I was very busy, I could pray anytime. At that time, I remembered. So it was February, March, April. In April, my husband began falling sick. I remember we were coming from Sri Lanka and he was very sick at the airport. He was weak. And we had one more mission to do in May. It was in Asia. We wanted to cancel it. But I remember before end of 2018, before 2019 came in, it was in December. And we had a fast for the church, that 40 days fast here in church. And while we were fasting, no, it was a personal fast. The other one had ended. Now this was his personal fast, 40 days. The Lord told him, it's not your fast that I want. I want you. Stop all what you're doing and come before me. So he told God, I have these invitations, people are waiting, people have put everything in place, they've spent so much money for these conferences. How can I even cancel? God kept quiet. February, March, God told him, I need you. Last one. After that, I'll come. In April, he began falling sick. When we went in prayer, the Lord revealed to us that there was an evil altar that had been raised in church. Said, okay. Somehow, we got to know everyone who was on this altar. But prior to this, there was someone who was our interpreter in church. Some young, he was the interpreter that time. And we had spotted him in a lot of things in the spirit. And the most big thing that he was doing is that he was in adultery. My husband warned him several times and told him, I see you, your walk with God is not right. Put your life right. And he could smile and say nothing. And God sent some people who were also my friends to talk to him. They were not church members, but from where they were, they saw him. And he said, no, the immoral, that's the spiritual. He said that the adultery that God is talking about is this spiritual adultery. Where you go from one pastor to another. But then I kept interceding for this man. And one time, something happened. We could see girls leaving church and we didn't know why. But you know, as you know them, they know their things. He was on the pulpit promising marriage to this one, that one. Then he says, we must sleep, you know, because we are going to get married. So we kept saying, something is wrong. And we knew what was wrong. But we had never gotten any chance to get this person red-handed. I could talk to him, but I had not gotten something that I can stand on. And so the worship team was getting empty. You could ask someone left, what happened? This person, after, dating this one, dumps, picks another one, the ministers. And what happened was that we had a friend who was not even born again. He had a big job, but this time he had lost his job. He was at home, a husband, very responsible husband. So he started coming to church. But this man was busy dating his daughter. So the daughter got pregnant. This friend of ours one time comes looking for me at home. We had just come back from one of the nations. And this time, we are building this new church. We are about open the church, to launch it. So when he came here, Pastor was very busy. He had my number, he decided to call. I told him, come home. So he brought this before me. My daughter is pregnant. The father, the person who did this, is your interpreter. I was shocked. I was shocked. Because I've taken time on this man, his life, his personal life, his financial life, you know, everything concerning him, his mother when she's sick, his family. Said, wow, how are we going to handle this now? When my husband came home, I told him. But then I did not get so surprised because I had seen things in the spirit. For a long time, I wanted him to sit, but he was the only interpreter, the only person who could interpret. He had been brought in ministry by a certain pastor who had now gone to begin his own ministry. And this pastor brought him in and left him as the interpreter. That pastor had also been the interpreter. So we asked him to sit. And when we asked him to sit, the first thing my husband did was to pray for him. He really prayed for him that night in church. But in the congregation, he had 3 girls. He had one who was very close to me. She had even told me that this man had promised her marriage. I told her it is impossible. You cannot get married to this man. He's not the right man for you. We will talk. We were traveling. When we left, chaos took over the ministry. So my husband made him sit. And for him, he was ready to go. He had 2 girls. This one, and then the other one was at the university. She could come once in a while. And she was, I think, for money. She had a good job. So he could get money from her. He was so corrupt. So when we made him sit, the one who was so close to me got angry. How can they even cast demons out of my husband to be in the presence of the congregation? Now I'm going to revenge. I'm going to revenge. They made their altar. They began praying for James to die. They made agreements which we saw. They made their covenants. They could meet and pray. I had a lot of things. Before we knew, they were now going out there. This man who's preaching righteousness, he has a child out of wedlock. This man who's preaching righteousness, every woman on the pulpit, he has gone out with her. Whatever now the other man was doing, now she had to revenge on me. That is what the husband is doing. They began moving places. But one thing I like about God, if someone falsely accuses you and you keep quiet, because as for me, God asked me to keep quiet. And I kept quiet. At one point he asked me, when Jesus Christ was on the cross, what did he do to those who were nailing him? Now I understood clearly that I was on my cross. And because I was on my cross, and my husband was also on his cross, so we had to carry the cross. And my husband had told me that God told me that if anything or anyone accuses you, never ever reply back. Never. So all the time, from the time he was a young minister, God gave him that instruction. That's why you can never see him answer anyone. Even if you're here physically, you attack him, he'll look at you. So is me. But in our keeping quiet, we are not fools. We know what we are doing. So they began moving. The child they're accusing my husband of, even today, is a child of my sister. My sister, who was living, I'd called her home that time because there is a course I wanted her to study. So she was living with me. But she had her man somewhere out there. Fortunately, one morning, me and my husband, I was going to attend to a certain altar somewhere to pray. We met her, and I got a chance to see the father of this boy. We saw her, and she even didn't see us. Okay, so we went home. I even didn't tell her that we saw her. And I think she has never known. We looked at this man. We parked it there with my husband and looked at her. Okay? And she could go for her studies. A time came, my husband warned her twice, actually thrice, that I can see you getting pregnant. I've seen you pregnant. Be very careful. Then I also saw this, and I told her. Okay? So the last time we warned her, a few months down the road, she was pregnant. And now the one concerned with this did not want to know. And I couldn't throw her out. I realized this was the time she really needed. The first few months, let me tell you, I lost my cool. Because I'd given her all my time, I'd taught her a lot of things, I'd invested in her. I felt bad. But at the end of the day, I had to forgive her. She went back home to her parents' home and she gave birth. And because there was no one to take care of her, we took the responsibility. God told me that child she's going to give birth to is going to be my servant. Okay? So when she gave birth, God told me concerning this baby here, I'm not looking at the mother. Whatever concerns him, his life and his growth, I'm looking at you because that is going to be my servant. I said, okay. So one time she comes back home, when this child was now 1 year, and asks me to come back home, in my home. So she says, whatever you taught me, I have not done. But this child, I'll teach him. I welcomed her home. But I first talked to my husband. When she talked to him, my husband told him, if you want this child and Joseph to come back home, that is going to be my wife's decision, not mine. She said, I've already talked to her, but she hasn't given an answer yet. But when God talked to me, I called them back home. So this time they give this story. When she's back in my home. Okay? I was home, I remember. The pastors who had vowed to fight the ministry. One of them sent me a message. The child you see is your husband's child. Your husband has a child out of wedlock. They told me things. Do you know what I did? That time, there was a lot of chaos in the ministry. They were telling each and every one. And it is only a few who were connected to the throne that they survived the storm. And after the storm, God told me that whoever left, they were supposed to leave. Whether they were pastors or ministers, they had to leave. The people that are left now are the people I want you to have. They are the people who are supposed to continue this ministry. There were a few, but they were the only chosen ones. So when they told me these things, my husband had traveled. He had gone. We had been invited. We had been invited, but then I stayed. He had just left. That day he left. This message came to me. Imagine yourself in a house with your sister and this this innocent boy. Someone brings this kind of message to you. After that, they came physically. What would you do? At first, it hit me really hard. I sat on the dining table. I looked at the boy. My sister was busy cooking. I looked at her. I stood up, went to my bedroom. I locked it, and I sat on the bed. And I told God, I want to know whether I'm an orphan, that this kind of thing can happen in my marriage, and you're there looking, and I'm serving you. Today I need to know. By now, it was 4 days after I received this message. My husband had never seen a thing where he's out of the nation, he's sending messages, I'm not replying. He's calling, I'm not picking. Then the third day he says, what is in my home? My wife, are you there? I did not answer. So when I went before the father, I asked him these questions. He carried that. Did I tell you that we had seen the father of this boy? He just took me in a vision and brought back the vision that the way I'd seen this sister of mine with that man. The way they were dressed. He just carried it to me and he gave it to me and told me, my daughter. That is the father of that man. He told me, your husband is very innocent. He told me, I love you and I care for you. He told me, you are dealing with a network of witchcraft. But you have to stand. I said, okay. I got very strong. He gave me a spirit. The kind of spirit I carried that time was very different. So when they came, they expected me to pack my bags there and then. They saw me coming. Very happy, by the way. Then you could just look at me. But even me, the courage I'd got from God. I'm telling you. This strength I had. So they told me, well, you have nothing to say about this boy. Who is in your home? Are you trying to say that you're two women in this house belonging to one man? Then I told him, hey, if the boy is for my husband, why do you get bothered? I think he came to live with his father. I told him if he came to, let him live with his father. There's nothing wrong with a child living with his father. Now I was very strong. These ones, I'm showing off. But now I had my proof. My father had sorted me out. They got so angry that I did not leave. They said, this man, we've now proved he's a high-level witch. He bewitched this woman. Then my father told me a lot about the boy. Some of the things the mother has even never known. I handle him as his servant. I handle him as the Lord's servant. And I respect him young as he is. He's the Lord's servant. That I want him to be straight. I never want him to go. No. So they began telling that if that was not enough, they looked for every pastor we know. Every pastor we had introduced them to tell them about my husband. How he's immoral, how he has children, what. Before I knew, they were saying, we used to go to the west, Mbarara there, Kasese. But we also got proof. He has a child in Mbarara. He also has another one in Kasese. Then I said, But on those missions I've been there. Maybe that child came, I don't know how. Maybe through the air. But when we go for a mission, my husband is with me. After that we leave. He has not talked to anyone except our host. Then I told them, hey, it is okay. Those children there, my husband will look after them. Don't worry. They got so angry. Okay? The battle went on and it was very severe. The ministry split. They told everyone they could wait at the gate. You cannot enter that church. You have to leave this church. Because the pastor there and his wife, they are witches. The man is very immoral. A lot of words went on. And with all these things happening, God told me to keep quiet. I kept quiet. Even my family, they told them not to talk to me because I'm no longer in my senses. So my family could not listen to me. My husband now fell sick. He just wanted to die. He said, I cannot stand this kind of shame when I'm innocent. He fell sick. A lot of things happened. God told me that it's because when I called you people, you did not come. I wanted to show you all these things. He told him, I took him to hospital. He was admitted. I stood there in hospital alone. I attended to him. I looked after him. I came back home, carried a few things, went to hospital. I could stay awake day and night. He was so fearful. He was worried. And at this moment, one time he had a problem with ulcers. The ulcers also struck. It was a terrible moment for me. I say to myself, I'm going to treat my husband in hospital and I'll give him back to his people when he's alive, when he's well. Because when I met him, his people gave him to me when he's alive and well. They don't give me a sick man. Fortunately, he recovered. We went back home. He had to stabilize now. His spirit was low. But I remained on the altar. I remained on the altar. And on this altar, God could show me what is to happen, what was ahead of us. What was ahead of us is you here. God was showing me a lot of things. While he was telling me that it's time to go, I think I've done enough ministry. I told him, James, I don't want to ever hear this statement again. Because I know you're not going to die. We have work to do. God's people are waiting for us. If you're seeing death, me, I'm seeing revival. God has shown me where we are going. I told him, you're not keeping. I don't want to hear this. In fact, you're defiling my environment. I've created the spiritual environment in this home. We have pain around us. But I'm not going to succumb to pain. We are going through a lot as a couple. But I'm not going to focus on anything except what God has told me and showed me. The
rest I don't want to know.
I stood. I stood. Meanwhile, we had seats, we could sit there. Someone could come, some people could come and sit there. Wife and husband sing themselves sit there. And now, the other one whom they had promised to marry, they had promised she would become pastor's wife in this ministry. And then the other interpreter would be the pastor here. Now James will be dead. Me, they'll just throw me out. I don't know how. They take over the ministry. But God saw us through. This storm was heavy and delicate. The father of this child came home to see my parents. But because they were also very angry, he did not get a chance to talk to them. And they didn't know that it was now this man who had come to tell them, I'm the father of this child. My father was so furious. So the man left. And the only person to be looked at as the father of this child maybe was my husband. But my mother says, this man came home and I saw him. I remember the picture of this man very well. Tall, stout, like his son. And the Lord told me, I avoided this boy to go to his father. Because I know what happens in the father's house. I want him to grow in a godly environment. I want him to know me because he's my servant. Pastor's wife, how would you handle such a situation if it were you? And up to today, I love this boy. I've gone through a lot because of him. Spiritually, attacks, physical and spiritual. And I don't care because I know he's the Lord's servant. So whoever wants to fight us, what they do is to look for these people and use them to come and give a testimony so that we can come down. Today, we have servants of God who are so angry with us. We've never done anything to them. We mind our own things. We only do the programs God has told us. We are led by the Spirit of God. And when they wanted to open up a church in one of the nations we go to, they sat and said, this man is very famous in this nation. We cannot open up a ministry here. The only way we can do it is to ashame him. People leave him. Then for us we'll open up our ministry. And they said, Whatever he's doing, it was us who were supposed to do it. And I don't know how. Because as far as I know, every person God creates and sends on earth, he has an assignment. Everyone God sends on earth, he has work to do on earth. I sit down and ask myself, how can I steal your calling? How? The TV station he has, it was supposed to be ours. They stole it in the spirit. Yes. I'm talking of people of the kingdom of God. Even witches don't do such things. He's running a consecration camp. How? Who told him? In fact, that was supposed to be also ours. So, the battle was there. After 5 years, the battle comes back. This time at another level. It is international now. And when it is international, the Lord tells me, you're not the only one. Go out and speak to my servants. The Lord tells me, many of my servants are hidden. But then it is very sad when a servant of God is going through this kind of storm and you, the wife, would have supported him. You join the team that wants to destroy him. You might not be a pastor's wife, but you might be someone's wife. Maybe a businessman running business. And the people fighting him are his fellow businessmen. The competitors. But as long as you stand in your position as a wife, no storm will be very big for you. They've had meetings how to destroy us. There are even people here who go to meet them to destroy us. But like the Father said, that if I planted you, I'll cause you to sprout. We will sprout. You will sprout. I don't know what your storm is, but it is not time to give up. It is not time to give up. Why should you even give up? Let me tell you, Daniel did not give up. When he was going through a test of false accusations, Daniel did not give up. When he was thrown in the den, he did not fear the den. He faced the den of lions squarely, and he had to come out of the den victoriously. I don't know which den you are in today, but as long as you keep standing in your righteousness and holiness, on your altar and walking right with God, your God will take you through that den. When I look at Shadrach and Abednego, it was time for King Nebuchadnezzar to know about their God. They did not run away from the furnace. It was made hotter 7 times. They said, as long as he's God, we are not going to worship your idol. Our God, we know he's able to save us. But even if he doesn't, it is okay. They are allowed to be thrown in the furnace. And they came out victoriously. It was a time for Nebuchadnezzar to see another God. A God who stands with you when you're in the fire. A God who stands with you when it is burning all around you. He did not give up on them. I don't know what furnace you're in, but as long as the Lord planted you, you are going to sprout. Hallelujah. Children of God, why do you always run away from storms? Why do you deny our God testimony? If Daniel refused the den, would this God we worship be declared to be worshipped in all of that province, in all that empire? When is our God to be worshipped in the empire of the non-believers? When we are running away from storms and testimonies and tests. When? When? Why do you deny our God a testimony? Because you fear to be talked about. Let me tell you, as for me, they've said a lot of things. There are those people who seem to know me better than any other thing. There are people who have got wrong visions about me because they are led by the spirit of deception. And I don't care. I don't care. One thing, and I have a God who called me, and that is it. I just gave myself over to him. Let us walk the journey. This God I'm talking about knows you better than any other person. Better than your husband. Better than your mother. Why don't you throw yourself in the hands of the Lord? I didn't see Jesus run away from the cross. If he ran away, would you be saved today? Would he have gotten you? Allow to carry your cross. Some crosses are very heavy. We have different crosses to carry because we have different callings and different destinies. My destiny, not your destiny. Maybe I can manage your cross. Maybe I can manage my own cross, which is very big. But I cannot manage yours, which is small. The grace I have is for my cross. There is no testimony without a test. There is no glory. There is no crown without a cross. Children of God, who told you that things are just smooth and on a silver plate with Jesus Christ? The apostles, I didn't see them run away. Even Paul, when they told him you're going to Jerusalem to be whipped, he said, let me go. Paul, who was not with Jesus Christ, he accepted to carry his cross. And that's why today we see him a very powerful man in the Bible. He wrote so many books in the Bible, even more than the apostles. What book have you written? What is your testimony anyway? What testimony do you carry as a minister of God, as a servant of God, as a wife to be? Before you are married, haven't you slept around with men who lie to you that they are going to marry you? Have you kept the glory? Have you kept the glory for your God? And you waited on you. Where is the husband? Where is the man? Don't run away from it. Face it. You'll cross the road. You'll cross the bridge. We must stand. We've played for too long in church. Don't congest your race with the people who don't understand God and the work in you. Ask God to separate you from everyone who is not supposed to be in your race. Congest your race with the right people. Let's always pray God to join you with the right people. There are people who are with you and they even seem to be with you. They appear like they are running the race with you. They appear like they are supporting your vision, but their mission is to destroy you. It is time for every woman to become spiritual and see in the spirit. It is time for every woman to be able to hear God when He speaks. When God tells you that man is not your husband, however handsome he may be, walk away. We are in an era where young men, promising ministers of God, the devil is trapping them with wrong women, destiny killers. Destiny killers. Pray for your children to get married to the right women, to get married to the right men. Raise altars for your children. Raise altars for your children. Raise altars for your husbands. Raise altars for your husbands. And even you husbands, when we are raising altars for you, stand by our side. Don't be very complicated. Don't be funny. It is always that she's supposed to be at the altar. But even when I pray, when you get money, you hide it. I'm fasting for us to get money. When you get it, it is yours. As if that's not enough, some of people, even in church, have girlfriends out there who take the money. They leave their wives home without money. Men, learn to understand women who come around you. Especially if you are married, even when you're not married. Test every woman who comes around you. Many of them are destiny killers. Some of them have come to destroy marriages. There is nothing bad on planet Earth as a man getting another wife when he's married. Because every marriage has a destiny, every marriage has a calling, every marriage has a blessing. So you can be wealthy. When God gives you a woman, that woman is supposed to lead you into your prosperity. Into your spiritual prosperity, financial prosperity, any kind of blessing. Because this woman carries a womb, your womb is the altar that blesses you as a woman. So when you leave this woman that God has given you, when she met you, you were very poor. Today you have money. Then you say, she no longer fits my programs. I need a very young one. You are cursing yourself. Okay, you might not get another woman. But even if you're just tempted, you're defiling your marriage. Husbands, don't allow your wives to drop their tears on the floor. It is a very big curse you can never get out of. Make your wives happy. Open up to them. Because they are the ones God has signed to be on the altar for you. In your homes, angels live and land on your wives. Glory be to God. That was my storm. I went through it, and I'm still going through storms. Our lives as Christians is a journey of storms. A big one, a small one, a minor one. Be ready to face each one of them.